Hi guys, it's Sonelias and welcome to Total War Arena. A game developed by, of course, the makers of Total War Rome, Total War Kingdoms, and of course also the makers of World of Tanks. Anyways, I basically decided to play as Cyan, basically with my teams of archers, and I'm actually going to go into a player versus human battle. Now, it's going to do matchmaking, so I'm not going to bore you too much with that. I'm going to pause the recording for a minute and I'll be back with you in just a second. Alright, the matchmaking took about 2 minutes or so. Player typically takes a bit longer than player versus AI. Particularly at this lower level. Do bear in mind, at the lower level, it should be pretty playable at the moment. There should not be too many issues. We're loading into the Capitoline Hill map. And as you can see on the left side, these are the other players who are part of my team. I've got 2 other players who are dedicated archers. And I got one actually has chosen to actually do that mix that I was talking about in my introductory video of having some archers with some hoplites. Alright, we're waiting for some other players on the other team to basically get here and then we'll see the deployment. Bear with me again, I'm just going to pause the recording. Alright, once the full team is assembled, you got about 5 seconds or so, and at that point the system will basically start positioning everybody on the map. Now I've chosen a position here relatively far to the north, which allows me to basically move along the northern flank here. Now do bear in mind, on almost every map you'll come across these little symbols here that look like an eye in a square. Those are lookout points. So if you actually are going to be able to manage to take ownership of that point, during that period that you can retain ownership of that, you have to keep a unit in the circle to be able to do that. You will be able to get a better view of the map. Anyways, controls, it's your WASD to basically move your camera around, and of course your Q and the E to basically rotate your camera. And as you can see, I'm actually moving my units all towards one spot. So I click on one spot, it moves them all there. Or if I right click somewhere and hold, I can actually say that they should be in a particular formation. Now, nice thing about hills like this is, on hills like this, you will be able to get a better view, particularly once you're actually looking down. And of course, being up here means that any units down there will not be able to attack me with melee. Ooh, that is gonna be dangerous. Right, let's fire into them. I drew first blood. Nice. Now he's gone into hoplite formation, and I would say typically that's a good idea, except now he's actually moving a lot slower, which gives me a chance, of course, to withdraw a lot better. But it also allows me to basically make sure I keep my distance from them. Right, one of the key benefits of this particular commander that we've chosen here, Cyan, is basically she got a rapid advance option, which allows her to basically move faster. Now, one of the things you do see happening here is friendly fire. Now, it's very limited to friendly fire still. Most of it is actually hitting the enemy. And I'm actually doing pretty decent damage. Now, the damage could of course be better if I had better bows and so forth. But yeah, that's just how it is at the moment. I will be penalized later on for the fact that I was actually firing into friendly units. And actually that amount of friendly fire is actually reducing, luckily. Thanks to the fact that I'm actually firing on a different unit where there's not a direct path to me. Now I could of course basically try to flank them. And what they will be doing shortly is it looks like they will actually be... they actually are flanking us already. With the peltasts. Let's see how much damage I can actually put onto him. Now that lower red bar is basically the actual health of the unit. How many of their men are still alive to fight against us? Alright. Are we under attack, really? Apparently, we have suffered some damage. Ooh, horsemen. Ooh, I'm trying to run away from them because of course they will try to overrun me. And I did suffer substantial losses there. I will probably be killed by these guys, but problem is I've got no supporting unit. So I've done a bit of a dangerous thing. I've gone to a position where I would easily be flanked by the enemy. And actually, at the moment, I'm suffering because of that. So it's always a good idea to stay near melee units if you can. It looks like I will be routed. And unfortunately, my commander has died, so she's in the first unit. I'll show you some gameplay later on where we'll be able to see that quite easily. Unfortunately, this is not good. Now, I basically get a morale penalty because of the fact that I lost my commander. Plus, I'm being flanked at the moment, so there's various different penalties I'm suffering from at the moment. I'm going to try to run away. Anyway, that top bar, the white bar, is the morale. And as you can see, I'm being absolutely slaughtered here. As you can see, I've died. Summary overview, the total amount of damage I've actually inflicted on the enemy is visible here. And of course, the amount of ranged damage that I actually did. Sorry, my damage versus ranged units versus melee units, and of course versus cavalry. So I see the total, and of course I did suffer or basically inflict morale damage there, and I basically did what they call nuke damage. This unit has received a large amount of damage within a short amount of time, which led to that loss of morale. Now, one of the things I hadn't explained yet at the top of the screen here is you will see that there is a red bar and there's a blue bar. The blue bar represents, of course, the allied strength remaining. The red bar represents the enemy's strength remaining. Now, there's three ways in which we can win this. Well, let me just maximize the map a little bit further. Each particular team will have their own faction base. You can try to capture the enemy faction base, but similar to what you got in World of Tanks, you need to be in that square, and you need to not be receiving any damage. Now, at the moment, this is our units here, the blue ones, are going into this square, trying to capture it. And you see that progress or capture percentage here is progressing quite nicely, quite quickly, because there's a larger number of units in there. A few of them are staying near the edge, and they are actually trying to prevent the enemy from getting too close. So at least the other units can keep a distance and basically try to capture the base in full. Now, I'm hoping that our team will be able to capture it, because the potential loss we were suffering would then be turned into a win. And I'm getting the impression that the enemy team is not going to be able to reset the capture sufficiently to prevent the capture here. They're only able to fire in those forward units here. Unless, of course, they maybe go forward. They might be able to. I think most of the capture points are done with these rearward units. They'll be close. They'll be close. Yeah, these guys should really take a phalanx position. No. Yeah, as you can see, most of them have now suffered damage, which basically means it's reset the capture. They should have really put them into phalanx mode, but okay. Like they've done here. They're moving into phalanx position, which actually gives them extra defense. I guess they're still level 1, so they don't really... Either they haven't played too often yet, or they're not too familiar with the actual mechanics of the game yet. It's fine. And if you were to basically look at the top bar here, let me just touch upon those other points. So I said there's various different ways of actually winning the game. Firstly, of course, is by capturing the enemy base. Second way is actually by eliminating all enemy units. So there's not a single enemy unit left. And thirdly, of course, you see there's a little timer at the top. It says time remaining. You start off with 15 minutes. It then counts down to reach 0. If at the point of reaching 0, neither of the bases have been captured and there are still units left alive, the system then looks at the actual balance between the red and the blue to determine whether the red or the blue team has won. You will typically always be playing on the blue team, enemy always on the red team. So yeah, there's various different bits of that involved. And in this instance, it looks like we will probably get an elimination win by the enemy. We were pretty close to winning by base capture, but as you saw, that got reset quite quickly. And yeah, we got only this one little unit here left. which is about to be eliminated. And of course that turns into a defeat. An annihilation victory for the enemy. Anyways, shows you top players subsequently. But what it also will show you after of all the players. So you'll be seeing an overview. So you see that there is progress of your commander. Do bear in mind that if you had a victory, you will actually get more experience for that, of course. Plus, there's also experience gained for the individual units. Underneath there, it'll show you the key particular qualifiers you got. In this instance, I had a nuked that I basically earned, and of course a Corona Valaris, which was drawing the first blood. So basically earned that little medal here for that purpose. Now I can actually then do a bit of a ranking in here and see, well, everybody's got, of course, a certain number of points, capture points. I wasn't unfortunately too near to the top, I was more towards the bottom, but you'll still see that I suffered some actual friendly fire deductions, 27. So try to avoid friendly fire when you're a ranged unit. It's hard to do, but yeah, you do see I'm suffering some of the consequences because of it. And of course, then further details, you see exactly your war reward breakdown. So your earnings, experience, as well as your money. Where did you basically get that from? In this instance, the majority is actually from team play. So supporting your teammates by basically taking down melee units or horse units or whatever that are basically currently in battle with my allies. Of course, there's also the aggression, which basically means you are really striving to basically attack the enemy, and of course the defense, which means you're defending from being attacked, and of course there's support against supporting the team. But yeah, I think the team effort is always the most important because you're basically helping the overall gameplay of the team itself. Anyways, hopefully you guys have enjoyed it, and yeah, I look forward to having you guys seeing one of my next victories, hopefully. And in the meantime, thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.